Star Wars 7 by 7 episode 2576. Today, the second half of my conversation with Ed Gross, co-author of Secrets of the Force, the complete, uncensored, unauthorized oral history of Star Wars. Punch it. Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod, and this is Star Wars 7 by 7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy, and thank you so much for joining me for it. So here again the reminder, Edward Gross has an extensive history covering film and television as a member of the editorial staff at a variety of magazines, including Cinescape, Starlog, Cinefantastique, SFX, Movie Magic, Sci-Fi Now, and Geek. He has written or co-written over 36 nonfiction books. And today I'm sharing the second half of my conversation with Ed about the most recent book, which is Secrets of the Force, and I'll spare you the subtitle. In fact, why don't we just jump right in? So here, without further ado, is the second half of my conversation with Ed Gross, co-author of Secrets of the Force.
You're keeping it with Lucas to some degree because this sort of follows on this kind of idea. You know, the book is pitched as being unauthorized, which just basically means that it's not really done in partnership with Lucasfilm, but it's also labeled as uncensored, which suggests that readers are going to encounter things in there that maybe are more revealing than they're used to seeing or have seen before, or even maybe more critical of Star Wars than what they may have heard before. Can you share a couple of examples of that in the book to give listeners to this show an idea of what might be in store for them when they get to read it?
I think a lot of it in that area is, when you say uncensored, I think a lot of it has to do with, you know, the emperor has no clothes, so to speak. I think it's people talking about the truth, or at least their perceived truth of what happened during all these years, during the making of the three trilogies, during the building of the company, in the aftermath of the building of the company. I think that's really where that falls in. It's people talking candidly and talking about. I just remember that one of the guys said, that one of the biographers said to me that, you know, Alan Ladd was very hurt, apparently, according to him, that Lucas basically blew Alan Ladd off after the success of Star Wars. That Alan came to him for a favor about a movie or a project, and Lucas refused to do it. And to this guy, it was just like, that's kind of a slap in the face, saying, you know, here's the guy, the only guy who really believed in this, and you did not return the favor, so to speak. You know, a guy who signed away the merchandise rights and the sequel rights, by the way, I mean, with the approval of the board, but doing it and basically ended his career at Fox as a result of it. So those are the kinds of things I think, when you say uncensored, it's just, again, calling the emperor, you know, without clothes, and just talking candidly and honestly of what went into things, what worked, what didn't work, why they didn't work, that sort of thing.
Was there anything that particularly surprised you to learn about the franchise or about the making of it behind the scenes that you hadn't yet discovered over your time having done journalism around Star Wars?
It's it's just the intricacies of what went on behind the scenes. It's what went into it. And, like, for instance, all the work that went into the prequels. Now, we can all have our opinions of the prequels, and I think we all do. Some love, some don't. But it's just to see how, again, it was built from the ground up. That they had this new technology, and how are they going to do it? I mean, they're filming entire movies in front of green screen and things like that. Just, you know, you read about it, you hear about it, but to read people talking about it and what the experience was like, again, it's bringing us inside. That's sort of, to me, the revealing thing about this is being brought inside from the points of view of those people who were there and talk about the experience, you know, good and bad, of working with George or anybody else that they worked with, whether it's the sequel trilogy or the, you know, or the other 6 films.
So one last formal question for you. What do you hope readers will take away with them from reading Secrets of the Force?
Look, with any of these oral histories, I just want them to become immersed in the behind-the-scenes part of the universe, to just get a sense of what went into the making of the thing they love so much. And that goes to, and the important point to make is, whether it's the original films, the prequels, or the sequels, everything's treated with equal respect within the book. It's all treated that way. But I want people to just come away learning something they didn't know, and hopefully finding it fascinating of what went into the creation of this thing they love.
That's terrific. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Ed Gross, for anybody who is interested in continuing to follow your exploits and what you might have coming out next, where should they stay in touch with you? Where should they follow you online?
Probably the best place is just Twitter at Ed Gross. That's really probably the best one. I mean, I have a site, voicesfromkrypton.net, which is more for podcasts than anything else. But that I would say that's the best place, Twitter at Ed Gross.
Excellent. And I will link to that in the show notes for this episode and the blog post for it at sw7x7.com. Ed Gross, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about Secrets of the Force and all the work that you and Mark did for this. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it and the opportunity to talk about it, because this really is a labor of love for both Mark and I. So it's great to be able to get the word out there.
And there you have it. That's my conversation with Ed Gross, who is the co-author of Secrets of the Force, the complete, uncensored, unauthorized oral history of Star Wars. And that is going to do it for this episode of the show. It just remains for me to say thank you so much for joining me for it, as always. And may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2021 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.